What's up, YouTube? So today is going to be another highly requested video of meal prep and what I eat in a day, what I eat in a week. Now, as some of you already know, I have started my bikini competition prep, so the foods are going to be a little bit healthier and just a little bit more whole foods, less processed, etc., more clean foods, if you will. So that's what we're going to be doing today, so I'm going to take you through my meal prep day. So I've got three main meat groups that I'm eating. I'm eating fish, steak, and chicken. So I've got my tilapia thawing out here in the sink, and then I've already got some marinated steaks here. I went ahead and seasoned it with a little bit of this Worcestershire sauce, some southern flavoring, which is one of my favorite steak seasonings. And then I've got the chicken breast over here. It's already seasoned with a little bit of sea salt, the pink Himalayan salt, some pepper, and then some of this McCormick Perfect Pinch rotisserie chicken seasoning. So I've got that here, and I've got my George Foreman going. Now, as far as my meats, I prefer to buy my meats when I can in bulk. So I like to go to Sam's Club, or some people have Costco. Anywhere that carries their meats in bulk, you usually can get a much better buy for your money. So I usually go there and buy like a whole bunch of chicken, a whole bunch of fish, and a whole bunch of steak. And the steak I usually try to get, because some people are like, oh my gosh, you eat red meat while you're on prep. I get the leanest cut of steak. So this is actually like a chuck round eye steak. So it's a little bit more fattier than a flank steak. A flank steak or a London broil is gonna be about the leanest cut of red meat that you can get. And then the next is gonna be like the chuck round steak or a sirloin cut. And the best way you can tell if it's a really lean steak is if most of the steak is all red. There's very little marbleization or fat striations that you see in the meat, and that's actually what I try to buy. These are already pre-cut into, this is like 5-ounce portions of steak, but for the week I'm only eating 3 ounces of it per meal per day. So this will last me about 6 days or so, but that's where I like to get my meat sources, where you get the biggest bang for your buck. Also, one of my carb sources for the week is sweet potato. So I went ahead and individually wrapped up 4 large sweet potatoes. I preheated my oven to 500 degrees, and these will cook for about 1 hour and 30 minutes or so, or just until they're tender. Just to, when you, the best way to test it is when you go to squeeze the potato, if it's slightly tender, that's how you know you got a perfectly cooked sweet potato. But I wrap each individual one into tinfoil, and I line the pan in tinfoil itself, because if you've ever had the experience where you just put the tinfoil wrapped sweet potato on the oven rack, if you cook it for too long, or if there's any holes, sweet potatoes leak like a molasses liquid, and it will burn and get all over your stove and just be a complete mess, or it'll leak and get on your pan. So I line the pan. So again, I like easy cleanup. I go ahead and line the pan with tinfoil and line each individual sweet potato. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the oven, because this will be the longest of my prep, my meal prep today, because these will take about 1.5 hours to cook. I spray the George Foreman with some olive oil ham, just to ensure that none of the meat sticks. This good hot grill, and it's ready to go. And we're gonna start with putting the chicken on there first, because the chicken's gonna cook a lot longer than the steaks. One of the vegetables for the week that I will be eating will be asparagus. Now, if you know anything about me, I kind of we're in a phase where I like absolutely could not eat fish or asparagus anymore. But since it's bikini prep season, I've got to reintroduce it into my diet, because it does such wonderful things for my body in particular. So I will do whatever it takes to eat asparagus if it's on my menu, per coach. So that's what we're going to be prepping as one of my main vegetables for the week, and I'll show you what I do for that. So I go ahead and I cut the hard part of the asparagus, which usually the best way to test where hard part is, if you take it and it snaps, that's the part where you would cut. So I kind of have a good eyeball of where I want to cut it, so I just think it's easier just to take a large knife and just cut the stems just about 2 inches or so, and then I take the remainder, and that's actually the part that I'll be eating, and just toss this away. Prepping my fish, this is something completely optional that you could do. This time I am going to actually be breading my fish. Now, most people were like, oh, you're breading your fish while you're on competition prep, isn't that going to add a lot of carbs? One of my biggest tips that I can say for if you want to bread chicken or if you want to bread fish is to buy Panko Breadcrumbs. This is Kroger's version, but this is if you get the Panko version of breadcrumbs, it's like the Chinese version of breadcrumbs, but for some reason they're lower in carbs than regular, like seasoned breadcrumbs. But I take a little bit of that and I actually bread each individual fish. So I go ahead and put it in a glass container or whatever, some sort of container that's big enough to put the fish in there to toss it around. And then I like to add a little bit of blackened seasoning because I absolutely love blackening seasoning on any type of fish. But this is a great way to ensure that the fish is very flavorful for me, because when it comes to white fish, I get really bored easily with white fish. So I try to find different ways to cook it, come up with creative ways to cook it that's not adding so much extra calories to it. So for something like this, well, it is gonna be breaded, but I'm a person that can't afford a little extra carbs in their diet. I probably got maybe a tablespoon coating of the breadcrumbs on my fish, so I'm estimating that it's probably adding anywhere from 5 at tops, not even that, maybe 5 carbs extra to my fish. So that's something that I can afford to add a little extra carbs to my fish dinner, and so that's what I'm gonna do for my fish. So I'm actually gonna bake this fish now. I've got my bottom oven preheating to 400 degrees, and this will cook for about 20 minutes or so, or just till the ends of the fish start to kind of curl up, and that's how you know that the fish is done. Chicken is all done. Now it's time to put the steaks on, and these will take very little time to cook, probably about maybe 3 to 5 minutes on each side, and then these will be done. While everything else is finishing up cooking, I'm gonna start boiling my quinoa, which is going to be my other carb source that is gonna be one of the main carb sources for my lunch. So I'm gonna go ahead and cook up some quinoa. All right, the steak is done. Now before I cut into any type of meat source, I always let it rest for at least 10 minutes before cutting into it. But for these, I'm basically just gonna wait till they completely cool down. But now I'm gonna go ahead and put on my asparagus on the George Foreman to give it a nice grilled steak flavor. And then depending on how tender you like your asparagus, these will only cook for a few minutes. I like to leave these just slightly a little bit crunchy, because again, when I put them in the microwave, they're gonna continue to cook in the microwave, and I don't like it when they get to that weird, like rubbery, wilty texture. So I like to keep them a little bit crisp. So these, for me, will only cook just for a few minutes. For my main lunch meal, I'm doing a layered bowl of kale, quinoa, which is why I'm cooking the quinoa now, chicken, avocado, some slivered almonds, and some little pieces of cilantro to taste. But for the base of my salad bowls, I'm going to be using this organic kale that's already chopped. I just got this one just because it was already chopped up, because the only other kale they had were like these giant bags of kale that were, they were like humongous. But this is more convenient for me to buy, and it was already chopped for me, so I'm going to put 1 to 2 cups of kale into each meal prepped bowl, and I'll show you what I do for my layered bowl. In half a cup of the quinoa that I cooked, so it's nice and fluffy. So half a cup into each container. Now taking a little bit of these slivered almonds that are already pre-slivered for me, and just sprinkling a little bit on each salad, like so. Put half an avocado into the first 2 containers, because since avocados go bad really easily, usually about after 2 days they start to brown. I just take the first 2 containers and put half avocado in the first one, half avocado in the second one. And then I just have to cut up an avocado every 2 days to put into the salad, because if not, they would just turn brown and turn yucky, and that's just gross and nobody wants that. Meal, depending, it's usually like meal number 2 or 3 of the day, depending on like how my work day is or like when I train. I eat a half of an ambrosia apple. The ambrosia apples are my favorite. I've mentioned that a lot of times. So I'll actually go ahead and cut these up into halves and then go ahead and quarter them and then put them in a little baggie so I can just grab and go. And I eat it with a tablespoon of white chocolate wonderful peanut butter, because it's the absolute best peanut butter in the world. And that's part of my mid-morning snack. This is how the fish turned out. It looks so good. Got that nice little white breading on top, and I went ahead and divided out 4 ounces of the fish in each container. Sweet potatoes are done. Now for what's gonna go with my fish in the evening time, I'm making a fruit salad, and the ingredients I'm using is baby spinach. Got some frozen blueberries here. I like to keep these in the freezer because I don't go through them fast enough before they ruin, so I actually keep them in the freezer. They thaw out really quick though. I put 10 of these on my salad, and then I picked up a can of some mandarin oranges, and then I put about 8 to 10 slices of the mandarin oranges into the salad. But I put them in a container. I empty them out of the can. I put them into a container like this and keep it in the refrigerator. Helps them keep it, you know, fresher, longer, and it's not good to keep stuff in an open can. Like once you open a can, to leave it in the can in the refrigerator. They say not to do that. So I've always kind of lived by that rule, so I just put it in another container to help keep it fresh. And then we'll top it off with some more of the slivered almonds, just a little sprinkle of this on top of the salad. And then I've got another homemade vinaigrette dressing. This has a cream base to it though, but it's another homemade vinaigrette dressing. It's really sweet. It goes great with like a fruit sweet salad like this. And again, I've already made it. It's good for about 3 weeks. Keep it in the refrigerator. So I will leave the ingredients to the recipe in the description box if you'd like to try this one as well. Just to kind of wrap up this meal prepping video, the one meal that I never meal prep, which I think I mention this all the time, is breakfast. Breakfast, I usually eat something that's really quick and easy, so I'd rather go ahead and cook that one fresh and not have to meal prep that every week. What I've been eating for breakfast right now is, I actually showed this in my last video, I believe, of what I was eating. So pretty much a big staple of mine is going to be these egg whites in the carton. So I eat roughly, I think 3 egg whites of this right now. I put a handful, about a cup or so of spinach inside there, so I make like an egg white spinach omelet. And then I eat a couple of cherry tomatoes on the side. You could chop these up and put it in your omelet, but I actually prefer just to eat these plain by themselves. I don't like it inside my omelet, so I just eat them on the side by itself. And then for my carb source, I'm eating cream of rice, and I put a little bit of stevia and some cinnamon and just a tad, like a teaspoon of butter. Smart Balance butter in there to make it like a good little cinnamon cream of rice concoction. I know, it's pretty good. So that's what I've been eating for breakfast. So my pre-workout carb source for the next couple of weeks, I'm eating on grapefruit. So now you can buy whole grapefruit and cut it up individually, which I've actually done a lot in the past, but in order to save time and sometimes money depending, in order to save time and clean up Tupperwares and wasting little baggies, I like to buy this, what is it, Del Monte, no sugar added red grapefruit. Tastes phenomenal. I actually prefer the no sugar added kind. Obviously I get the no sugar added kind because there's no sugar added, but I honestly think this tastes better than the regular sugar added kind. I don't know why, but I get that, and then I estimate what looks like about a normal size grapefruit serving, and I put it in these little containers, and that's what I take to go, because usually I go work out after work, so I put these in little to-go containers, and I eat this on the way to the gym after leaving work. So that's my pre-workout carb source. Right now my post-protein source is just a protein shake from Cellucor, like I usually always do. And then whenever these sweet potatoes cool down, which this will take a couple hours for them to completely cool down, I'm gonna let them do that. I'm gonna actually peel the skins off and then mash them all together to make one big sweet potato mash. Put a little bit of stevia, a little bit of cinnamon in that, so I have like a ready to go sweet potato mash, and that's actually my post-workout carb that I will use this week, and about 4 ounces of that at a time, because usually I would just take a whole sweet potato, cut it in half, and eat it that way, but I just decided to do a mash this time. But I won't be showing that in this video just because it'll be a couple of hours before these cool down and actually get to peel the skin. So, but yeah, I wanted to go ahead and edit this video. I think that is it. I don't think I forgot anything. Yeah, I wish I had the money to spend on already meal prepped companies like Bite Meals or Icon Meals or all the popular meal prep companies out there, but let's be real. Most of us can't afford to buy several meals worth, several weeks worth, several days worth of these meals because of the cost of shipping, and it's just real expensive. When you could do all of this for like less than $100 and get multiple meals out of it. You get to cook it fresh, you know exactly what's put into it, you get to flavor it exactly how you want. Again, I would love to be one of those people that are like sponsored by these meal prep companies, but in reality, that's just not how the most average working person can afford and can do. Sometimes I just don't want to do it, but I know I gotta get it done. It's the only way that I'm gonna be able to stay on track with my goals. Again, this is kind of me showing you a little bit of what I am eating for my contest prep as of right now. No, I don't have a show or anything picked out at this time. I'm just kind of moving into a more structured eating base, more planned meals, and that's kind of what I'm getting into. So getting ready to get into like a really strong, strict prep, but I hope this gave you some ideas of some good whole foods, some eating healthy tips, even some recipe tips. I finished cleaning up in here, and it's really hot in this kitchen because my kitchen's like a closed off type kitchen, and there's just like no air circulation here, so I'm starting to sweat. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this video, so I'm gonna finish cleaning up, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!